but I don't think it's a disadvantage to, if you're chasing your dream, to pack up and move out to LA or Atlanta. If you're chasing your dream, then go where there's more gold. There's less gold here in New Orleans and Louisiana area, but it's enough for me. It's
Yeah.
more than enough because I don't need the whole mine. If I get me a decent enough vein,
Yeah.
I can mine that one vein until I'm good enough. So yeah, there's arguments to be made on both sides, but I don't think it's as much of a necessity as it was at one time. You don't have to move there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like, it was
Good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Oh my goodness, it is episode 298 of ITCAFpodcast. And for those 298 episodes, still your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, aka J-Lo Fantastic, and Dustin M. Bergman, aka The Mouth.
What's up?
Man, oh man, we're super excited to deep dive into the entertainment news this week. But before we tease it, be sure to leave a rating on the show because leaving a rating on the show helps up-and-comers try to break into the entertainment industry, but especially those who just love entertainment news. If you did not know, comment, leaving a rating, and all the good things, sharing with your grandma, that's what it's all about, man. Be sure to do that so it can spread the word of mouth of ITCAF Podcast so you can stay up to date with all of your favorite movies, all of your favorite TV shows, and maybe even some fun guest interviews. It's there for the taking, that is for sure. But today we're going to be going off the cuff once again and talking about the gold rush for content when it comes to streamers, television shows, and movies. Everyone needs everything right now, even if they've seen it before. Now, one last piece of business. Be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone. That is for sure. You got a holiday coming up. You got a celebration of life or a birthday. Please be sure to head over to crazyantmedia.com. Like I said, we have a little bit of something for a little bit of everyone. But man, oh man, like we were saying in our promotional video that came out once this episode is finally available on all podcast platforms and YouTube, this week we're going to be talking all about the streaming wars, the studios pumping out content, quality over quantity, and everything that's going down in Hollywood. And it's been very interesting, that is for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest about it. It is a content conveyor belt problem, right? So many recycled projects, some good, some bad, some that we have iffy opinions on, that's for sure. But are we still, as Hollywood and in the entertainment industry, prioritizing quantity over quantity? That is the very interesting topic of conversation. Dustin, how are you feeling today and about this specific topic?
You know, I have very, very intense thoughts about this. I think that, you know, let's just dive into it. I think that the studios, when they all initially launched their streamers, because let's remember it was Netflix, and all the studios were like, we've got to compete with Netflix, we've got to compete with Netflix, we've got to compete with Netflix. And I think when all of these movie studios launched their streamers, the immediate thought process was, we've got to catch up, we've got to catch up, we've got to catch up, we've got to catch up. Content. And that was right out of the gate the biggest mistake that they all could make. And the reason being is you were never going to catch up right away. That was never going to happen. And the reason is because Netflix wasn't pumping out original content. Netflix was built on licensed content. 99% of the shit on Netflix was licensed content, meaning already done, already created, already shot, years in the book, they have it on there. These streamers come out, and instead of just going with their content, their library, they made the mistake of going new content, original content. We've got to put all of our focus on creating original content for our streamers. Boom, 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 boom. And that was a money problem. That was a let's pump out quantity over quality. Let's just get it done so that we can compete. And if you look at it, and I know you know, because we talk about this all the time, the original content that Netflix was putting out, they weren't rushing. They weren't knocking it out. Jesus, look at The Crown. Look at Stranger Things. There were years in between seasons. They weren't knocking out shit like whole seasons in like 6 months. Boom, 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 boom. They just weren't. So they were relying on licensed content and then slowly building an original library. That is, in my opinion, what the streamers of the other studios should have done. Rely on your IP. People will watch it. They will go to Disney Plus to watch Mickey Mouse. I promise they will. They didn't have to pump so much money into all this original content at the cost of quality. And that's my initial thought on it. And I think that it now, like they always do, right? What everybody does, us in personal lives, business lives, whatever. Whenever there's something wrong, we tend to overcorrect. And when we overcorrect, it's as big a problem as the original problem was. So, and I think you're seeing that now because, you know, and well, I want to hear your thoughts on that initially, and then we'll dive into the whole fan base and fandom and how that plays into it too. But would you agree or disagree that out of the gate, that was the initial problem with the streamers?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Because I mean, Netflix's first original production came from House of Cards in 2013, and I believe like the next streamer that was even created was Hulu a couple years ago, which wasn't even focused on original content. They were focused on linear television reruns.
That's right.
After they initially aired on their original day. So yeah, to balance everything with the streaming services, trying to compete with Netflix, trying to continue moving forward, it has been very freaking interesting. And I mean, speaking of like relatively current day times, like just in June alone, there's been 13 new shows coming to mostly linear television, and some are mostly to streaming television, and some linear spaces. But just to give an example, in 2023, there was 516 original scripted drama, comedy, and limited TV shows that were aired on streaming and broadcast television. And that's actually down 14% from 2022. So they're spending money on chances that might not even go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because we used to talk about all the time about Netflix having all of these one and done seasons and it continuing to happen, kind of. So it's very interesting to see the dynamic between the streamers now and everybody trying to find their own lane, because it used to be, yes, competing with Netflix, trying to be better than Netflix, but then it kind of became, okay, we don't have Netflix's global audience like some of these other ones. Like, for example, when Hulu started doing original content, and still today, Hulu is only in the United States. There is other branded streaming services that is tied with Disney that continues to create original content for their certain territories. So it's very interesting to see like how everybody's trying to fall into their own lane, and the potential collapse of other streaming services like the lower ones with Peacock and Paramount Plus. And I mean, you have already seen like Stars basically shutting down. You've already seen Showtime being combined with Paramount Plus. So we're kind of getting into the consolidation of the streaming services. I think that's kind of where we're at currently.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think that Paramount staved off its collapse only in the sense that it realized it didn't have to be all original content. It could pump in a ton of its CBS content and people would flock there. And they've seen an increase in subscribers when they started pumping out CBS content on there. They're basically using it like their Hulu and Paramount Plus, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a morphed, if you will. They have Paramount Plus with their original stuff, but then they act as Hulu with bringing in their CBS stuff, which I thought was a smart move and probably helped them survive. The other thing is, and you and I talk about this all the time, I think if anybody is showing you, and I hate to even say this because I don't want them to continue to infiltrate Hollywood. I would rather them just get out of Hollywood, but I'm going to say this anyway. If there's one that is doing streaming right, in my opinion, it's Apple. Apple, you can count on one hand, really. Okay, maybe two hands. Okay. The amount of series that they've had. They are taking their time and they are putting out great content. And like every series they've put out has been stellar. They haven't missed yet. A couple of the movies they've missed with, but the series have all been stellar. And they have taken their time. They didn't pump out 13 new series in one year. They're just spreading them out. I think that if the other studios had done that, it would have been far more successful. I think that James Gunn recently made a point, and I think this is accurate. Disney, under Bob Chapek's reign, made the decision Marvel was their big cash cow at the time that Chapek took over, and it was still slaying at the box office. It was the king everywhere. And he made the decision that's what they're going to ride on. That's going to be the pony they bring it home with. And he ordered content coming out the you-know-what to fill Disney+. The problem with that is there was a reason why the Marvel movies were spread out over a series of years with huge gaps in between. It's because they're huge. They're CGI-driven. It requires a lot of post-production time. And when you give the order to put 4 or 5 Marvel series on there all at once, back to back, you were never going to get that time. Never get the allotted time to make that happen properly. And that killed Marvel. I would agree with James Gunn 1000%. It became quantity over quality. And the only reason that WandaVision was as epic as it was, and Loki, is because they were already in the process of being made and had that time frame. Everything after that was a pump. And you saw the slow downgrade in every series after WandaVision and Loki. It was da-dum, because they were pumping them out. That has become a big issue. And I think, and it's not just, it's Indiana Jones, it's Cats, the musical, Flash. Everybody was pumped for Batman, and then Batman was the best part of the Flash because all of the Flash special effects really sucked. It just wasn't great.
Yeah, that opening sequence where Flash is saving the babies. Oh my gosh, I literally laughed out loud at how bad it looked. And I mean, of course, that film was troubled from the beginning with Ezra Miller having all of his like psychotic break episodes and being on the run from police. And that was right when Zaslav kind of first took over. Yeah. So that was already going downhill. But yeah, the interesting thing is all of the superhero fandom and then fandom in general, like we mentioned, Cats the musical with Warner Brothers, like the fandom, they want you to rush so quickly, and the studios see that and they hear that and they want to abide by that, but that's not the right way to go about it, because Cats the musical, very popular on Broadway, a very high caliber cast that was a part of this musical, like Taylor Swift, James Corden before he left the Late Night Show, so he was still riding high on his success, and it did awful because one, it looked creepy as shit. Like when they first started showing trailers of this thing, like it was absolutely terrifying. And then two, like they tried to bring back like Indiana Jones, the most recent one, and they really hardcore marketed and promoted the CGI stuff with making a younger Harrison Ford going back in time. And when it came out, like it crashed and burned. No one was talking about it. It was a semi box office bomb. But yeah, I think, the studios are listening too much to people who are impatient because of limited attention spans. And that's a problem. The studios, again, it goes back to originality and being able to be their own person, be their own brand instead of abiding by whatever the fans and the people who are waiting for these films say, because at the end of the day, the studios are the professionals,
Yeah.
not the fans.
Yeah.
The studios will know what the fans want if you give the studios enough time to put out good quality content. So yeah, again, it seems like we've been having this conversation the last like 2 or 3 episodes, but I mean, it's so true and such a hot topic right now in the entertainment industry, especially around superhero films and other things. So yeah, it's a very much needed conversation to just chill the heck out.
Right, because it is driving decisions. Remember, the biggest movie of the box office so far, well, it's about to be Lilo and Stitch was driven for streaming. And then Iger came in and made that decision to get it into the theaters. Brilliantly so. I think Chapek would have left it on the streamer. So, and then on the flip side of that, the problem with fandom is they contradict themselves, right? They hammer down about how they want it right now. They need more of it. We need to see it. It's been so long. I need to know. And then they slam when they get it because it was rushed and the quality sucks. And then it's over. It's done. I don't want to watch that. They've lost it. They suck. Okay. So then they slow down and they focus on the quality. And then the fandom contradicts itself and says, well, you're taking too long. What's taking so long? Why don't we have a movie yet? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it can't be both ways. You can't demand the excellence of the quality that we were used to seeing and the speed. It doesn't work like that in these big movies. You might be able to get that in stuff that doesn't require a lot of CGI, stuff that doesn't require heavy post-production. You might be able to get a little bit more speed there. But when you're looking at these big movies, these Indiana Jones, these Stranger Things, the stuff that requires, you're not going to get that speed. So you've got to back off. And like, for instance, I hate to keep bringing it back to the superhero stuff, but Batman, James Gunn just went off on fandom about, like, he literally said, like, shut the fuck up and get off Matt Reeves' nuts. He doesn't owe you anything just because the first one was so great. He's taking his time to make sure the follow-up is good. And James Gunn has made it clear he's not going to allow what happened at Marvel where the scripts sucked and they just pushed it through. He's waiting, and he's canceled greenlit projects because the script just couldn't get there. And so you're just going to have to deal with that. I personally don't want the next Batman film to suck ass. I want it to be as epic as the first one. And if that means it takes a little longer, then it takes a little longer. You can't, but I think fandom it's dangerous, because you're right. As much as we don't want to admit it, the studios do pay attention to it. They pay attention to social media. They pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes, which is an open source, guys. Anybody can manipulate Rotten Tomatoes to get those scores up and down. And the studios pay attention to that. And so that's a big problem. I think you're exactly right. That is a huge problem. You've got to go back and say, we're the content creators. We're the people who've been doing this for 100 years. We know what's going on. Back off. And I think, at some point, if you don't have people, and maybe this is the problem too, right? Maybe this is why tech companies infiltrating Hollywood and taking over these studios is the problem, because they are built on social media. They are built on those platforms. Of course they want that. But Content is what created Hollywood. And back in the day, they didn't give a fuck what fans thought about it. They just put out content. And if it worked, it worked. It didn't. And I think there's the hiccup. We've got to get people running the studios that aren't tech, that don't care about social media or the fandom. They just care about good quality projects. And some will hit and some will not. But it'll be, it's just that's the way the game works.
I know every time that someone brings up that Netflix is more of a tech company than an actual movie studio, I'm like half yes, half no, just because like they obviously take the entertainment industry so freaking seriously, right? I mean, they're building studios all across the country. They are continuing to be nominated at the Academy Awards and the Emmys and the Golden Globes. Like they're taking this very freaking seriously. And I would argue and say that Netflix, even with being as big as it doesn't abide by, even though they throw a lot of shit at the wall, they do, that is not good, and cancel it in one season, they do not really abide by other people's timetables, right? I mean, that's why Stranger Things has taken so damn long. And which, it, as a fan, it sucks. But as a business-minded creative, completely understandable, because every single time they do, they keep breaking their own records.
Yeah.
It's because of that anticipation that they hold out for so long. The Duffer Brothers didn't even start on this final season until the last one was actually done airing.
Yeah.
Which never freaking happens.
No.
So I think Netflix is ahead of the game when it comes to all of this. I mean, it's arguable that Netflix is in the top 3 streamer, or in the top 3 studios, just because they continue to pave their own path that obviously the rest of Hollywood keeps following. So it's a very interesting thing to try to navigate and battle against, because like I said, with them allowing Stranger Things, that particular property, to even release their seasons in parts, right? Because this next one I think is going to be 3 parts before it's all said and done. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to give your creators the time and space and energy to be able to provide that memorable product that people will enjoy and love.
Well, and to reinforce what you're saying there, you want to know why I think that Netflix has legitimized itself. It's no longer a rental place. It's no longer what it was built on. It is now a studio. I would argue that it is in the Big Five, but the reason is because they're doing the reverse of the actual studios that have been around 100 years. Reed Hastings and Ted Sarandos, they knew nothing about making movies or television shows. They were fans and they knew how to sell the shit out of DVDs, but they didn't know. So when they made the decision to start creating content, to become a studio, if you will, they got out of the way. They brought in film people. And so the wannabe studio became a legit studio because the tech guys got out of the way and brought in film guys to do it. Where the actual studios are fucking it up because they're going in reverse. They're bringing tech guys in who don't have a fucking clue, and the actual film guys are moving out of the way. And that is where you're seeing the problem. That is why you're seeing Netflix still excel, and the rest of them are stumbling. The only one that had, and Chapek was the stumble. Once Iger came back, they're fine. They're dominating again the box office because Iger's a creator. He's a business, he's a suit, but he's a creator also. He understands content. But look, and we all know how important the succession plan is there. If Disney if they make another mistake with that succession, if it is not a film or television person that takes over the reins of that, they're going to have the hiccup again. They're going to run into trouble again. So, and we're seeing it with Zaslav. I think that split, first of all, it was a way to dump the debt because he's dumping all of the debt onto the other company that's being formed, which is totally fucked up. But he stayed in charge of the content. And he's proven since day one he does not understand the content. aspect of it. So why he would stay in charge of that company after the split is it's going to be a disaster. And they've got to find a way, in my opinion, to get rid of that guy. Bring back a film guy. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, to kind of wrap it all up, I agree with you. I think that the key is bring in creators, bring in film people, and then get out of their way and just let them do what they've done for all these decades. Because that's what created Hollywood. I mean, and we just got to get away from the rest of it.
Yeah, completely agree. And yeah, I mean, speaking of that split, it's going to be very interesting because now the CFO of Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be the new CEO for Global Networks, which I believe is, all of their other stuff that's out of the content realm. But yeah, that whole thing, of course, it definitely, thank goodness for the shareholders that were like, no, y'all are not getting raises because of this shit, because we're already going into the ground. So good for them. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing.
Well, the only thing I question now, the intelligence of the CFO, right? CFO, for anybody out there who doesn't know, it's Chief Financial Officer. Why a chief financial officer would agree to take over as the CEO of a company when it's going to be saddled with all of the debt? I mean, he's basically saying, well, you're the financial guy, you take care of all the debt.
Exactly.
And that's going to fail. There's no way, I don't care how brilliant of a financial guy this guy is, that is bound to fail. And then Zaslav will temporarily look like a hero. But if I'm that guy, I say, no thanks, Dave. I'll see you later. I'm like, I don't understand that at all. But, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, Gunnar Wendenfels. That is his name. And the CFO, new CEO for Global Networks. Yeah. Very freaking interesting, man. Very freaking interesting. But we've been seeing all of the hate, all of the drama, all of these studios and creators coming out and having to defend why they're taking so long. You can't rush perfection.
You can't.
Okay? Did anyone freaking rush the original Deadpool? That took like over 10 years to make, and when it came out, it was a global success and very popular. So just freaking calm down, okay? Calm down.
And also stop the hate of the back. There's room for all of it. There's room for all of it. We don't have to cancel shit just because you don't like it. But just move on from that shit too. Because that's also playing heavily into decisions being made by the studios. Oh, they don't like this, so we should get rid of that or we should keep that. It's like, no! Just do what you want to do. Like, fuck them, man. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Exactly. It's almost like everybody needs to head on down to the city of New Orleans and have a little fun, a little hurricanes, and relax and chill the fuck out.
Sit on the porch with some food and alcohol. That's right.
It. That's all you need, okay, man? That's all you need. But it is time for our guest segment. That's right. We got the one and only Gralen Bryant Banks coming on the show to talk about his latest appearance in Sinners. But we also talk about the necessity, or maybe unnecessarily, not having to move to be in the entertainment industry, like maybe be homegrown, and how that works out for certain people, and all of the different things, man. It's a beautiful conversation. I'm super excited for everyone to hear this interview.
Yeah, this should inspire a whole lot of people, because this is a guy who didn't even want to be an actor. He wasn't even on the radar. Spike Lee chose him to be in a documentary type film because he went through Katrina and he just wanted a real person to give a real story. And then all of a sudden, everybody in Hollywood saw this guy and they're like, wait, we love this guy. Just play yourself in all these movies, and he's turned it into like he said, he's got more gigs and a longer career than some people who have been doing it their whole lives. And that should tell you everything. If that's not inspiring, I don't know what is. And if that's not reason to listen to this interview, I don't know what is.
Exactly. He's as cool as the other side of the pillow. That's for sure. Well, here he is.
Gralen Bryant Banks, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you, sir?
I am very well, sir, and yourself?
Oh, we are living the dream, and we are super excited to talk to you for numerous reasons. One, because you're in the industry that we love. Two, you're in one of the most talked about films of the year thus far. And three, You're from the city that we love. You're living in New Orleans, man, where we
Born and
just
raised.
thrive.
Born and raised.
Oh yes, sir. It's where we kind of kicked off our business and
I love it.
got into the industry. And so yeah, I can't think of a better person that we would want to talk to you than you.
It's full circle, man. It's a pleasure to be here on this occasion. I tell you, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what we like to do for anybody that might not be familiar with you is kind of start this thing off with we're always curious about how people get into the industry. Was it I knew right away this is what I want to do? Did you kind of fall into it by accident? How'd you get started?
Fell over ass backwards into this industry. It was honestly nothing that was ever on my list of things to do, to be an actor, to be in film, nothing like that. I had a pretty good career about 3 careers ago. I was the director of safety and loss prevention at the Hyatt Regency in New Orleans. And we had a little weather about 20 years ago in a couple of months you might have heard about.
Yeah.
But I was at work when that happened. And then right after that happened, that November, I met the Ernest Collins, who was at that time Mayor Nagin's director for arts and entertainment, at an opening of a hotel because everything was just starting to try to be rebuilt. And they were featuring Kermit Ruffins and Irvin Mayfield. Gonna be a little trumpet battle to give the people something to come out. So I went out, man. It was because of my love for music and getting out of the hotel that I was at to go over and have some fun. That and my love of Heineken's, because a gentleman was passing with a tray of ice cold Heineken's, man. And I said, my man, let me get one of them Heineken's. And when he passed by, I grabbed one Heineken. And I thought to myself, well, really, you got 2 hands. Why wouldn't you just get, 2 beers? So I said, hold up, my man.
That's right.
And it was that movement that caused me to get that second Heineken. That when I turned around, I saw Ernest Collins. He and I started a conversation. And when I was telling him what was going on, he would say, well, really, you never left. I said, no, man, I've been here the whole time. And he said, well, I literally just got off the phone with Spike Lee's people. Would you mind if I gave them your information to contact you? I said, no, man, I don't mind one bit. Just, go ahead and do that. And that was 20 years ago. And for whatever reason, when the levees broke, he featured me in When the Levees Broke. And man, the phone started ringing.
Yeah.
I cannot even tell you. I say to people today, I don't know what they see when they see me because I just see me. But whatever they see, they like. So hell, let's go for it, right? And but that's what happened, man. I got show on TBS, and then Treme, David Simon, and Eric Overmeyer, which was huge. And after that, the big thing came. I walked away from a 6-figure salary because it was an opportunity to film Benji for Netflix, the remake of the classic Benji. So I wasn't going to, I've been a boss. I was a boss. So I know an employee couldn't come to me and ask me for 8 weeks off and then want to come back to work. You're going to have to make a decision. You can't steal home with your foot on third. It's not going to happen, right? So talked to my boss, my wife, 40 years in August.
There you go.
And then stepped out on faith and said my prayers. And now 55 films and television shows later, here we are. Oof. And that's literally how.
Wow. Wow.
That is literally how it happened. It was never, ever on my list of things to do. I kid you not.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing to hear because, you come from a city of New Orleans where, everybody does rebuild themselves. That city is so entrenched in so deep-rooted heritage and what it's able to do and what it's able to bring forth to just the culture, what it's able to bring forth to the rest of the world and the rest of the country, I think is absolutely beautiful. And you rising from the ashes yourself and completely restarting your life, basically, at least professionally, I think that is absolutely amazing. I mean, did you ever, while starting this process of getting into the acting game, getting into the entertainment space, did you ever second step? Did you ever pitter pat where you're like, wow, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right thing for me and my family moving forward?
Hell yeah.
There we go. Love the honesty.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Plenty of days, man. Again, it was a matter of faith. Sometimes your destiny finds you. and I was just getting offers and opportunities, and I did the whole starving artist thing. I was a bartender. This is from being a director in the hotel to tending bar. My friend Kermit Ruffins, I was working the door at his two clubs, Sweet Lorraine's Jazz Club in the city. I was tending bar there. I was hustling and doing what
Mm-hmm.
actors do. Doing
Yeah.
what
Yep.
actors do
Yeah.
to work in between. So I got that taste of the life, and but no, there were, oh yeah, several questions of myself and of the good Lord above, and say, bro, you sure? Are
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you sure this is
Yeah.
where you
Right.
want me? I'm not doubting. I'm just asking because, but no, it was a matter of faith, and we just stepped out on it, and so far so good, man. But no, there were times of definite, boy, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
Right.
no doubt. And I think that, everybody that gets into this industry, whether it's like a path yourself where it was totally
Yes,
unexpected and it just kind of, or people that were driven from a get go and knew and they get into
yes,
it, there's always that point where you question whether you're doing the right thing. I think, you're not human if you're not questioning whether you
I
made the
agree.
right decision. But
I
what I
agree.
really like that you said is, one of my favorite sayings is leap and the net shall appear, and
There you go.
and the faith, right? You're
Yes,
like, you just,
yes,
because, and you referred to it as destiny, and I love that. It's because once you know, even
you
through the
know.
hard points, you just know this is what the universe has planned for me, this is what
That's
the
right.
path that God has put me on,
That's
and it's
right.
hard, but this is right,
But
and you
whoever
just
said
feel it.
easy? Look,
That's
whoever
exactly
said
right.
easy?
If it's worth it, it's supposed to be hard, right? Right.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Sometimes I was wondering if it had to be this damn hard, but
Yes, yes,
but even with that, it all of those trials make the victories that much sweeter, man.
that's right.
It gives an opportunity to get it done, and another day, one foot in front of the other, and let's see where it leads us, right?
Absolutely. And I love like what Logan said about the culture and the resilience of the city. And for
Yes.
living there as long as I did, it's the one thing that stood out to me. It's also, I think, one of my favorite things about that area and about the people there is it's one of the rare places in this country where you can see in the same street within a 2 block radius wealthy people and poor people, and they're okay. It's
Oh
not,
yeah.
you see it in so many communities where they're separated. It's, hey, no way, don't come across the tracks, we don't want
No,
you
man.
here. No, New Orleans, you walk up down the street within a block, you see everything, every
You go
type of
from
person, every,
mansions.
oh,
That's right.
absolutely.
From
And
mansions to the hood
that's exactly right, and they're
in a 5 minute
okay.
walk.
that's
In a
that's
5 minute walk. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
absolutely.
And I love that because, and I want you to kind of talk about again, like, because I think I have an answer for you about, you don't know what they saw, right? When they see you.
Yes. Yes.
But
Still don't.
I think it's authenticity is what they see. You come across very authentic to me. And I think when you are successful in this career as an actor, especially in front of the camera, it's
Uh huh.
all about authenticity. You connect to an audience because people can connect to you. And that's because you're not bringing a character, you're bringing Gralen.
That's
And
that's
and
all I got.
that's exactly
That's all I
right.
got.
So
And it's funny you say that because the whole career started with when the levees broke, which was not scripted. That was a documentary, and
that's
all
right.
I was doing was there. And trust me, at that time, I had all four letters. I had the P, the T, the S, and the D. I've got rid of the
Yeah,
T, the S, and the D, but I've got a little bit of P left,
that's
right?
right.
But at that time, what you got was exactly what I was feeling at the time, raw, uncut, and it worked.
Mm,
Mm.
mm.
I love that too. Yeah, because you have to be resilient, especially in the entertainment industry, but especially in life too. I mean, no matter what career path you choose, because this podcast is for the up and comers trying to break into the industry,
Yes.
but especially those who, are just interested in the entertainment journey or just chasing a dream overall. And it's very important to know and acknowledge that you will fail. You will fall down on your face, but you have to continue getting yourself back up and continue moving forward. Because if it's truly what you want to do in life, then you will find that passion, you will find that drive, and you will find that determination to continue moving forward. And it's very scary too, because when you're in this industry, there's different pockets around the country and around the world that are continuing to build their incentives, continuing to build
Yes.
studios, continuing to
Yes.
shoot in different locations. So as someone who is from, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, the original LA, the original Hollywood South, what do you say to those people who are always like, I want to pursue my dreams, but do I have to move to LA? Do I have to move to Atlanta? What do you say to those people?
I say I'm a living, breathing example of no, you don't
Mm,
have to. Now, granted, uh, most of the things that I have been in have been regional. I've shot a couple of things in Atlanta, a couple of things in Texas, but mostly in and around New Orleans. And because Hollywood has come to us, and
mm-hmm.
I think that was right now a big part of why I don't think you actually have to be there is because of COVID
Yes.
and the advances in what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom and meetings and people working remotely. So when you used to have to be somewhere to do an audition, anything like that, now you can tape it, you can send it in, and if you're lucky enough to get a call back or to be cast in the role, then you can fly there, do your job, and then come back home. But it's I don't think it's a disadvantage to if you're chasing your dream to pack up and move out to LA or Atlanta. If you're chasing your dream, then go where there's more gold. There's less gold here in New Orleans and Louisiana area, but it's enough for me. It's
Yeah.
more than enough because I don't need the whole mine. If I get me a decent enough vein,
Yeah.
I can mine that one vein until I'm good enough. So yeah, there's arguments to be made on both sides, but I don't think it's as much of a necessity as it was at one time. You don't have to move there.
Right,
Mm,
right. Well,
completely agree.
we have a lot of guests tell us that that are outside of the L.A., New York, Toronto regions that they would rather be a big fish in a small pond and be okay with than that little fish in that big pond trying to compete, right?
All the
Because,
time.
like you said, you might not get as much opportunity here, but the opportunity you get, you're the guy. So
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I think that and there's a path there for people that want to go
yes,
that way. There definitely is. I also like what you said about how COVID kind of changed the game because I am old enough, like so many people, that I remember cattle calls. I remember
absolutely,
and it was intimidating to walk into a room where there's 100 other people that look exactly like you,
exactly like you
and to
do.
try to stand
Exactly
out and say what's going to make me the guy. Now at least with the self tapes, right?
right.
You have a little bit of that individuality. They're not seeing 100 other yous. They're just seeing you. They chose to click on you, and they're going to watch you.
That's right.
And if
That's
you
right.
mess up, you can do it again. You don't get that in the room, right? You
No, you
blow it.
don't.
Maybe they say, hey, let's try that again. Give
Let's
me
try
this.
this. And if you get that,
If
you
you
know you're
get
doing
that.
good. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
But
Let
most
me see
people
it
do
again.
not. So
Right.
with the self tape,
Right.
you at least go, let me do 85 different ways and send what I think is my best. So it has kind of increased the opportunity for people that didn't have it before to maybe get
Yes.
in that room, which is a
Yes.
really good thing. I also want to talk about, because I think it's kind of shifted the game. The industry is kind of theatrical release to streaming, and what
Oh yeah.
streaming has done to the window of how long something will stay, and it's really kind of put pressure on the studios because these streamers are expensive and
They
now
are
they
very
need these
expensive.
movies to make money. So we have to focus on
Right.
IP that we own. We can't take these risks anymore with these indie films.
With it. That's right.
But you, sir, were in a movie this year that proved that a little bit different. You can
A
still
lot
tell a
different.
creative story that is
That's right.
original, not based on a property, and make a profit if it's
Yes.
done well. So
If it's a
let's
good
dive
movie.
into it. Yeah, let's dive
If it's
into
a good
Sinners,
movie.
man. Talk about it. What
Sinners.
was that
Man,
audition process like?
I was so lucky on that one. I actually got called. Megan Lewis did the casting here in New Orleans, and she called me for a table read. And she said, "We got a table read, and I want you to come down and you'll be reading for this character called Delta Slim." Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the script and I was reading. I'm like, oh snap, this crazy as fuck, right? Wow. And that's how I was reading the script. Oh man. So when we did the table read, man, I met Ryan, I met Zenzi and Seb and all the good folks, man, from Proximity, and folks were on video and screaming. A lot of local actors were there, so it was a really good vibe in the room. Then I got the call that I had gotten the role for Patterson, who at that time was patron number one,
Mm-hmm.
the first guy who got served at the new Juke, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And to be there on that set to watch, dude, Ryan Coogler, Michael, Delroy Lindo, Wumi. I cannot even. I don't have the words, and I'm a rhetorician by nature. I love words, but this was a master's class for doctoral students. You
Oh
understand
yeah.
what
Yeah.
this was a to see what he does. And when he was dealing with me, he said, listen, and he whispered, he said, listen, I want to see it this way. And he told me to come. And I know that was to see, he saw this movie in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you were saying, the original indie film that was just his idea, why it was shot on film, why all the things were done. Because as a movie lover, he saw this movie in his head. And what he tried to put on the screen at the final cut was as close to what he had imagined at the time. But that's why he saw, I got a chance to see him look, shoot it, try this way. No, and then when I saw the film, I saw that it didn't come out that way. It came out the other way, but you had to give it a try because he was seeing it in a different way. It was a master class, man. It was everybody. I had to shake Delroy Lindo's hand and tell him that West Indian Archie was one of my favorite characters ever
Yes.
in film, not just
Yes.
in Malcolm X, but in film. I loved West Indian Archie and his portrayal, and just to be on set with those guys, man, and I can't say enough, you know, about Smoke and Stack. That was
Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah.
and my man who played the double. Oh, bro, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pull you. But there was a double. They shot
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it with two people, but he made the credits. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna put your name up on IMDb because my blade's blanking out on me. But to see the red and the blue suit changes, and to see both people standing there and doing this great job in building these characters, and then to see the one person at the film that both of those guys, I saw both sides, and my man was two different people when he played two different characters. He
Mm.
was two. He was a lot when he was Smoke. He was a lot more close to the vest.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He was a lot because Smoke was the more serious
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
one, and he was that guy doing that. Now when he was that, hey baby, what's happening? He go around,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a different. You could see the difference in the characters, although you mentally knew it was the same guy. But I'm just telling you, man, you'd have me talking here till next week about what a blessing as far as an opportunity it was to be on that set with the director and with Autumn, who was the DP, who just oh man, I'd be naming everybody, but I can tell you that it was such a phenomenal experience to be on that set and to watch what you see in the theaters, what has captured the imaginations of audiences globally, to be there when it was being spun, to be there when it was being put together. I, incredible, pales in comparison to what it actually was, but as close as I can get to it,
Oh.
it was incredible.
Oh.
No, most definitely. Yeah, it really was like an example of, showing that the entertainment industry and the movie industry doesn't need to be these quote unquote big superhero, big
Right.
blockbusters, big explosions. It showed that there still is a desire for a original story at the cinemas, because I think that's kind of where we're at now. You're seeing all of these beautiful stories get told, but not really make a lot of money. And then
Yes.
when this film came out and did gangbusters as it did, I'm sure Warner Brothers was just like, "What the hell? We were not expecting that."
I don't
So
think anybody was, but
no,
it's
I,
almost 400 million.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's
Almost
so
400 million.
amazing. It really is. But I mean, yeah, just to be there and to be engulfed in the entire process, because I think this is the saving grace. This film is the saving grace of the theatrical experience. Because like I said, with certain things like video game adaptations, superheroes being like less and less of a draw, or at least more critically targeted, I do think these films like Sinners, Ryan Coogler's masterpiece, is something that the community and just everybody in general has been thriving for. They've been waiting for a film like this to come out. I think it was absolutely amazing. And to be able to be on a set with such amazing people, like you said, Delroy completely stole the show for Dustin and myself.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, that's our favorite character of the entire thing.
You say, "Boy, I cut you thin enough to fry."
Oh, right. Look. And I don't know about your theater where you saw it at the premiere or whatever, but in my theater, every time he spoke, my crowd erupted. They were loving every second of him. Like, and I was like,
y'all smell anything?
You know, I love those. A great line, man. Without doubt. I love that you brought up that Ryan shot it on film. I love that you referenced that this is a storyteller. He has a vision. He's a storyteller. You look at that. You can go all the way back and look at that at Fruitvale Station and everything that he's done. I remember an interview that Michael B did, and he said he was sold on, he wasn't too sure of Ryan at first, but he was sold on him after he met him at Starbucks, and he heard him tell the story. He's like, I know this story. I know what happens to this guy. I know, because but why should, and he said after Ryan told the vision, the story, here's how I want to sell it, Michael was all in. And obviously that relationship has worked for all these years. Because they see it. But I think that that's what the key is to the success of this movie was you have to be a storyteller. You have to be a visionary. And thank God, like Logan said, for this film, because I think that these type films were destined to be greenlit for the streamers and never see the light of day in the theater. But this movie, like Logan said, might have been the salvation for that. No, we can still put these type movies on the big screen. Forget the streamer stuff. There is still a space for these stories to be told.
Asses in seats, my friend. That's what they showed. We can make a film that puts asses in seats. At the end of the day, Hollywood is much of the creative juices that we would love for it to be flowing through. There is a definite, very strong vein of economics that goes through this thing. And that's what everything, that's the measure. That's the measure. And what he showed was a well thought out, well crafted, well put together, creative, original film can put asses in seats. Now, not just in America, but around the world.
That's right. That's right. It's done well. Yeah.
And I think you made a very good point. I think there will be cinema pre-Sinners and cinema post-Sinners, because I think you'll see a lot more studios taking a chance on independence. Everybody's not going to hit a home run like Sinners. But if we get a bunch of triples, 2 or 3 doubles, and a single, maybe a bunt, we do good. Because I'd rather those than just pumping them out, putting them on a streamer, pumping them out, and you get much ado about nothing. This was a great film, and I hope it sets a precedent and actually changes direction of what's going on and what gets green lighted by the major studios.
Completely agree. Yeah, because like we've been talking about, it's all evolution, and it's all about helping the up and comers come into it, because we've been recycling a lot of content. We've been seeing the same things, the same IP come in. We've been seeing the same actors, but now there's this new generation, right? They're finally coming into Hollywood and into the limelight and making their own stamp on the entertainment industry with the stories that they're telling. Like, for example, Miles Canton, like absolutely amazing. This being his first ever film, it was crazy. So what was he like on set? Was he just like, what is happening?
That boy can sing. You know what I'm telling you? He can sing. I don't. Coolest young brother, humble, just talking. We standing there, and he's skilled, but it's that kind of skill that is, I'm not gonna say hidden, but he doesn't wear it. It's not flaunted. It's not. He's just a cool cat until you touch him, and he's like a ninja. He turns into this guy, and it's just all of a sudden. It was an absolute pleasure working with him, and to think that this was his first time out.
Yeah.
First time out on that stage with that caliber of folks around him, those actors, veterans, and I mean, I'm got a few films, but this this is the deep into the pool.
Yeah.
And he not only held his own, he exceeded it.
Yeah.
He exceeded it. And personality-wise, just every day, always cool, never problem, no star. Now, I don't know how the better going to be on his next film, but, but on this one, man, just as cool as the other side of the pillar.
Love that. Yeah, I think because you nailed it. I think what you said was that's who he was. He can. That's who he is. So, and again, I think it goes back to Ryan's ability to find authenticity.
Right.
I feel like this film worked so well because what you saw is who those people are. That is true, authentic. This is the people that we are. This is the culture that we are. This is the story that we tell. And that translated to everybody who saw that film. One more thing I want to say is because I really like how you described the being on set and how it happened with the table read, right? I think that so many people trying to get into the industry make the mistake of letting the ego get ahead of them a little bit. And it's like, that role's too small for me. I don't want to be patron number one. I want a speaking role. I want this. I want that. And I'm like, if you are patron number one and we don't hear a thing out of your mouth, you are on a set with those people learning that stuff. Like you said, it's a master class. There's no such thing as a small role or too small a role. If you have an opportunity to get on a set like that, I don't care if you're bringing coffee. You bring the coffee to whoever, right? Like,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
So I love that you said that because, you want me for a table read? No problem. Like,
I'm there. But I can tell you that I learned that from experience. Again, being early in the game, squares of pool table and twice as green. When we did, you understand? When we did cremate.
Yeah.
My role was Black Men of Labor, and I had 2 lines. When I auditioned, when we shot it, I had 14 lines.
That's right.
And David Simon said, "There's no way in the world we can cast you as anybody else except Gralen Banks." So in a fictional adaptation about my hometown, New Orleans, by 2 guys from Baltimore, I play myself.
There you
play
go.
Gralen Banks. And that's when he said, "Man, you're just real." So, and I am a Black Man of Labor, my social and pleasure club, and I'm a soulful warrior in the Zulu Social Aid Pleasure Club, and I'm a New Orleanian. So all of those things go hand in hand. So when we were talking about New Orleans, it just came like we're going to have this conversation and like we're going to talk. And the next thing you know, I went from 2 lines to a bunch of them.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. So good, man. So good. Well, how we like to round out these conversations, because it's crazy. It's already been like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It just happens when you're with like-minded folks, man. You just get to talking and things come so easy, especially when you're from the Crescent
That's
City.
that Nolan's flair.
Percy Bell. I had to shout out.
There you go. I love it. Even the whole time he's like, I'm getting this. I
got to get it.
Yeah,
Bell he was either smoke or stack, depending on what scene they were shooting.
That's
but
right.
He was there for the whole. Another really cool, really down-to-earth cat who's probably not going to get all the props, but he was the other side of whichever Michael B. Jordan character was in character. He was the other side. So shouts out to my man Percy Bell.
And I just shout out to you because that is mad respect for you to take the time to point that out, because a lot of people wouldn't know that. A lot of people would think that that's just that Michael does one, they cut, Michael does the other one, they cut. They don't understand that there's another man doing that performance that you will never see, right? And for you to give that man his prop and give him credit like that says a lot about you too, my friend. It really does.
Thank you, sir. As he's a good cat, man. He needs to get it. And I'm telling you, looks like him.
Yeah.
not just body physique wise, physically there you could say they were either younger brother and older brother, definitely first cousin.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That
Yes.
is really cool. That is. But we'd like to hit you with some popcorn questions. And these are some fun questions just so the audience can get to know you a little bit more and maybe tell some stories about certain things. So the first one we always know and love. What do you think was the funniest moment or most memorable moment on the set of Sinners?
Ooh.
The funniest, most memorable moment, I think it was with Omar Miller, who was Cornbread,
Mm-hmm.
when they were shooting the scene with he and Delroy, uh, and he told him he had to go piss. He got to go watch it go while I go
Mm-hmm.
piss. But he really did have to go. And they knew it. They knew it. And it was like, hey, well, wait, let's kind of get you like, my man, I say, hold up. I know we shoot, but the reality of the world has encroached on this set because I really do got to go.
That's hilarious.
Just the timing of it. Why would you be shooting that scene when you got to go and you actually got to go?
Right.
Oh my gosh, that is
And another
classic.
great cat, man, Omar Miller, man, Cornbread. Had to walk around with half his face torn off after being
Mm-hmm.
shot for about 3 or 4 days, and yeah, we had a good time.
Oh my gosh, love that. Okay, I'm really curious about this one because you've thrown around some great stuff. So I'm really curious. If you could live in any film or TV show, which one would it be and why?
Tremaine.
Yeah, all right. There you go.
Because I know that one. I know that one. Listen.
And you get to still be you.
And that's what it is, man. This acting is great, but if I could just be me, I kind of like me. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can
no.
Yeah, for sure.
innocent dude. I've been knowing him for a long time. I know his parents. I know his people, his brothers. He good. He all right. So I kind of like him. So I love the creative side, but also pragmatic enough to know if I had to go somewhere, I'd rather go where I know and not
Love
have to worry
that.
about. I think I'd fit in much better on the real side. But other than that, man, I think I'd like to be Detective Reggie Hammond in American Horror House, which was a
Oh,
sci-fi
yeah.
shot I did some years ago. He
Yeah.
was named after Beverly Hills Cop, Reggie Hammond, and was
Yes.
a detective. I had a very memorable death. I was kissed by a beautiful lady ghost who, in the middle of kissing me, bit my tongue and then went to yank my whole insides out by pulling my tongue out of my mouth. And that was
That's
my very
wild.
spectacular death.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one way to go.
I love a good gag,
Yeah.
man. I
Yeah.
love a gag. This is one of the best. So yeah, that's that guy.
Fantastic.
That's epic. I'm gonna have to look up that scene
Yeah,
after
yeah.
this.
Oh yeah,
That's exactly.
it's when Reggie Hammond meets his demise. It's gonna be one of the ones. Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. I'm gonna find you on Instagram and let you know my reactions.
Please
That's
do,
for sure.
please
I
do.
got
I'll
you.
get
I
all
got
three
you.
names. Gralen Bryant Banks. You can find me. I'm easy to find.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. Yes, sir. Now, this third question is a new one that we're adding to our popcorn
Okay.
questions. It's a little deep. It's a little deep. What was your biggest fear as a kid, and then what is your biggest fear now?
My biggest fear as a kid, I think, was drowning because I live in a place that is surrounded by water
Mm-hmm.
and bayous and lakes and rivers and everything. And I, growing up, knew a couple of people who lost their lives in water. And I learned to swim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Olympic level by any stretch, but I think I can save my own life
There
if
you
There
if
go.
we
that
go.
came down to it, which is the most important part. But my fear for today is tomorrow,
Mm.
because I've got grandkids. Shouts out to Hill Haru, Onyx, Ryan Soul, and Sonny Ray, all Hamiltons, who are
Beautiful.
hanging out right now down in Costa Rica. Hola.
I love that.
They are, I want my world for them, although I know it's impossible to have all the things that I have, but I want them to have my world in the sense of freedom. I want them to still
Mm.
be able to think. I don't want them to live under any type of royal edict. I don't believe that I was raised when we were still teaching civics in class and the three branches and checks and balances, and we broke away from England because of King George and not being here. We didn't like kings, and I think after being raised on 200 and some years of democracy, it's going to be very difficult to get these folks to adapt to anything like that, and it's even more difficult for me as a New Orleanian because, as you may or may not know, New Orleans is older than the United States of America.
That's right.
Right? We turned 300. Y'all don't turn 300 until 76.
That's
right?
right.
We already turned 300. So all y'all illegal aliens to us, but we not bad.
That's right. That's right.
You can just come on in, you just come on in. But that it would be if I had a fear, and I don't do a lot with fear. I usually try to say if you're moving forward and you're active and you're doing something, you will allay whatever fears you have. Either that or you won't have enough time to be afraid. So
Love
that would be it if I had to think about something, because the stresses of the world and the pressures that are going to be visited upon those kids right now at 5, 3, and less than a year, I can't even imagine. So I'm hoping and praying that there will be some semblance of the world kind of like I knew it, as far as their ability just to be. Not to be anything, but their ability just to be.
That man, that is deep, and that is solid. Like that, I love that. I love that answer. We're gonna stay deep a little bit because you've had, like you said, this amazing life and these amazing careers and all of these things and how you've pulled it all together. So I'm real curious about this one. If you could go back and tell your 10-year-old self something, give him some advice, what would you tell him?
Buy Amazon and Apple.
There you go. That's right. Forget all the deep stuff. Forget all the philosophy. Boy, it's money. Buy this. I love that.
That's what I tell him. But I don't. What would I tell my 10-year-old self? That little dude was kind of hit his time. I don't know if I would tell. I would probably ask him some questions.
Oh, I love that.
Because I think adults tend to civilize the honesty out of children because children are naturally honest. If somebody's big, kids are going to say, wow, look at that fat guy. It's not that they're trying to. And again, please don't write me calls and letters. If you're big, I'm big too. The point is that there's a level of honesty that comes when you're a child that I think what we use as civilization gets wiped out of us, and we become less honest, trying to be more liked or trying to be more mannerable, anything like that, especially when you got girls, because I don't want you to smile when you're not happy. I don't want you to do anything because somebody else feels comfortable. I don't want you to dim your light because somebody else needs to shine. I need you to shine the way you need to shine. And I would ask him, how do you see it right now? What do you see is going on right now? You good? How's life? And I think from a 10-year-old perspective, I was a pretty insightful kid. And he might be able to give me some things that I could act on now as a grown man that I wish I would have paid more attention to or given more weight at the time when I was 10. So I'd ask him some questions.
Love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I think we also have a mental health podcast that we do, and we talk about, going back to the younger versions of ourselves, different aspects of either being more brave than we are now, or being, like you're talking about, more honest just about everything in life, because sometimes we do spend too much time living in the clouds, or sometimes we spend too much time living in the dumps.
That's right.
That child only sees what's in front of them and how to take that step forward. So as adults, you almost wish you can have that childhood strength to continue moving forward.
That's what it is. Strength. Because it's the strength of honesty. See, nowadays you get pilloried. Nowadays, if you tell somebody something that they don't like, because they don't like it, then all of a sudden you become something. I
Yeah.
have to objectize you and make you into something because you told me something that I disagreed with or didn't like. When as a kid, you say how you feel. You didn't try to hurt the fat man's feelings when you call him fat. You just saw a fat guy, you just call him fat. And then you learn, okay, I might not want to call him fat, but that does not make him any smaller.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
That doesn't make him any smaller.
No.
Even that I'm learning how to say it in a more acceptable way,
right.
I'm still seeing the reality that I'm seeing. And at 10 years old, I wasn't afraid to point out that reality. Later on in life, you're a bit reticent about saying that what is.
That's
the
right.
emperor don't have no clothes on. The emperor's naked. The emperor's naked. You need a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
You need a 10-year-old. Hey man, that dude's naked.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. That is not the finest cloth of them all. Okay, you are butt ass naked.
You are naked.
That is
And
so
what
funny.
we see in your nakedness is disgusting.
Please,
That's right.
please
Please cover up.
Funny.
Please cover up. Yes.
Well, we got a fifth and final one for you. Are you
Yes, sir.
happy with your career so far?
Oh, ecstatic. Seeing I'll put it to you this way. You don't know how happy I am to have a career doing something that I never even thought. Dude, I'm from New Orleans. I got people who have been musicians and actors and stage people for years. I got 55 films and television shows in 20 years, from Katrina to right now, which will be 20 years later this year in August. But I've passed people who have been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, have been in it. Why am I better than them? And none of that happens because I can't make myself popular. That's not my call. I can't make myself. You say, well, how you show me how to be a star? I say, if I ever learn, I'll tell you. But I don't make me a star. You make me a star. I have nothing to do with that. People either like you or they don't like you. They'll see your work and give it thumbs up. They'll see your work and give it thumbs down. They'll see some of your work and give it both, because that's the breadth of your career.
That's right.
Some you do great, some you do bad. But none of it was idea for me growing up. That 10-year-old kid we was talking about, that dude didn't know nothing about no Hollywood. He wasn't trying to be no actor, nothing like that. But here we are. And I'm on this podcast. I'm talking to the crazy ass people. And here we go. What do you mean, man?
That's right.
But I cannot I didn't ask for this, so I'm ecstatic that it has become what it has become. Because as I say, sometimes your destiny finds you. And I think in this case, that's what happened.
Wow. Just like, man, you've got to be one of the most genuine human beings that we've ever had the pleasure to talk to. You are, I'm just going to say, you are a walking tourism ad for New Orleans, my friend. If someone listens to this interview and doesn't want to immediately go to New Orleans and meet people like you, I don't know what's wrong with them. I'm like, this is New Orleans right here. People always ask me why I love it so much, why I talk about it so much. Right there. This is why. Because of people like you.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh my goodness, man!
The comparison with New Orleans, I do a daily radio show called The Front Porch, right on WBOK 12:30 a.m. And it's available on all podcasts all around. We broadcast it, Facebook, Instagram. That's the commercial. All right, let me get that out of the way. But
yes,
it's called The Front Porch because that's where I grew up. I grew up on the front porch with my grandfather and his friends. And, I was a little boy, so at that time there were rules where children knew their place. You were seen, not heard, but they didn't mind you being there. And I was astute enough to listen and laugh, and not laugh too loud because you ain't supposed to be listening. But you learned a lot. That's what I wanted my show to be about. But the unmitigated star of my show that I knew when I got a chance to do it would make it practically bulletproof is New Orleans.
Yes.
The star of my show, we do festivals, we do music, we do art, we do photography, we do all the things that make New Orleans, New Orleans. At the same time, current events, we laugh about what's happening in Washington, we cry about what's going on in Palestine, and we talk about so many different things. because it's a front porch conversation.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's a front porch. People stop by. We've had great musicians, Hurl and Riley and John Boutte, and I don't want to name it because I'll be leaving people out, but folks stop by and we sit on the porch and we talk and they leave and they're like, man, this was one of the best interviews ever because I don't want you to come when you have something. I
That's
want you to
right.
come just because you're here. I don't want you to come because you're pushing the book or because you're pushing the thing. I just want you to stop by the front porch
That's right.
because we sitting on the front porch kicking it, telling people what's happening, how you doing. And that's why I think I get the success on that show that I do on the front porch because the star of the show is New Orleans.
Mm.
She's the star, unmitigated.
Love
You
it.
can't name me one individual. I don't care if from princes to potentates to presidents, they've all made their way down to this little raggedy city at the foot of the river. They have come. She has been as big as Louis Armstrong, as big as Bono, as big as Enrico Caruso. All if you were anybody at the top of your field in music or arts or opera, anything like that, for the past 200 plus years, you made your way to
That's
New
right.
Orleans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question. You made your way to New Orleans because you had to. Name me a star that has come. Some of them have ascended and gone down. Some of them have ascended and are still rising. Some of them you never heard of again. But New Orleans is still there.
Yep.
New Orleans is still there. She has not diminished. She has not lost one step. And all of those folks have come and gone. So, in the grand scheme of things, she is the star of the show. And it is my honor and privilege to absolutely have a chance to show her off.
Ooh, baby, gotta let the good times roll. Got me
Laissez
going
les
now.
bons temps rouler.
That's
I
right.
swear, I swear. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, thank you again so much for coming on the show. And I mean, this is what we've been trying to do with our show as well. Just have conversations about projects and things that we love. We're not a typical Q&A type of thing. We just like talking about what we like talking about.
I love
And
it,
we're absolutely blessed that you came on. But yeah, promote everything one more time and tell people where to follow you on social media.
I am on Instagram at Gralen Bryant Banks. That's Gralen, 6 letters, Gralen Bryant Banks. The show is called The Front Porch. It broadcasts on WBOK 1230 AM, WBOK1230am.com. We are on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and you can also find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We're there
Nice.
too. So there you go. If you can't find me through all of that, I don't want you finding me.
Right?
There you go. There you go. Listen, man. I'm gonna come to your porch. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna come to your
Come on.
porch. I can cook. I learned to cook in New Orleans. I'll cook you
Come on.
something. We'll just
Come on, dude. You cannot threaten me with a good time, my friend. You cannot threaten me with a good time. I
Ain't no
scared.
threat, my man. I'm following through. I promise you.
Come on.
That's
Listen,
funny.
you got my information. You guys come to the city. Get at your boy. We'll go out. We'll kick it. We'll make sure you see some New Orleans, and we'll share New Orleans the way you love to share New
That's
Orleans.
right,
all
because I tell people that all the time. It is so much more than just the French Quarter, people.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
is so much. Yeah, if
Absolutely.
people knew New Orleans the way we know New Orleans, they'd be like, "Oh,
They would not go to the French Quarter nearly as much.
exactly."
Exactly.
That's
I
right.
you wouldn't go, but not nearly
That's
as much.
right.
Trust me.
I love it. I love it, man.
Exactly. Well, listen, take care. Thank you again.
I
And we'll be
shall.
talking to you soon.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Shouts out to Crazy Ann. I appreciate you guys, man. Jay Logan and Dustin and Jay Logan, man. You guys, thank you. This has been a pleasure. I'm always around. If you need me, holler at your boy, all right?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We need more New Orleans people on the show. After this interview, I just want to have more New Orleans people.
I'm telling you, bro. I mean, when you first met me, I told you, right? Like how much I love that place, how much
Yes.
it is me. I say I was born in New York, but my home is Louisiana. I say that all the time. And it's because of people like him. That is authentic New Orleans right there. That is authentic Louisiana right there. And I am so glad our industry is making a comeback there. I am so glad that it is giving him opportunity to show himself we need more, not just more Gralens on the show. We just need more Gralens in the world, bro.
Yes. Completely agree. Completely agree. Thank you again, Mr. Banks, for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And this week, like Dustin was saying earlier on in the show, it is top 5 best movie endings. Goodness gracious, not enough coffee in the cup, that's for sure. I was up late last night watching my Pacers dominate the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we're heading to Game 7, guys. We're heading to Game
Which
7.
nobody saw coming. Like, I think a
Nobody
lot of
saw
people
coming.
thought the Pacers were out of it and done, man. And then here we are, anybody's game now.
Exactly. Halliburton being hurt and not in Game 6. He is our fearless leader on the Pacers team. Came back and won with that shot at the final buzzer, if y'all remember. But yes, I'm very excited about it, and it's going to be very cool. That's why I had to rock my Indiana mug today. Had to. But yes.
Well, hopefully they pull it off, man. Hopefully
that's right, man. I freaking hope so. That'd be awesome. This week it is, like I said, top 5 best movie endings, and we're super excited about it because it is brought to us by our one and only intern, Mike. Man, oh man, he's killing it on the YouTube side. He rocks and rolls. Every YouTube clip that you see come out of Crazy Ant Media's YouTube channel, it is edited and put together by that man. And then, of course, we have Delana as well, who does our top 5s, actually.
Yes.
So she helps as well. But yeah, going to give them a shout out for all the hard work they do. But man, this was probably the hardest top 5 that we've had to do in quite some time.
And I'll tell you why it was hard, because best film ending, it's like, for me, it was like, well, how do I choose this? Was it one of my favorite film endings because it was a total surprise? Was it because it was so memorable it just fucked me up? like it was so sad or so happy or just so unexpected? Or like, so when I was trying to pick my list, I'm like, well, how do I define this? What made it great that made it stick out to me? So I tried to pick ones that were a little bit different, but I think I leaned into the ones that legitimately shocked me. Like, didn't see it coming ending, or made me think at the ending, right? Because that's what I talk about all the time. I like films that make me think, and ones that aren't so predictable. And I think my list is definitely those. So we'll see. We'll get into it.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, number 5 for me for my best movie endings goes to Pride and Prejudice, the movie. Man, oh man. Oh my gosh, this movie. At first, I didn't like it because it's very much a Jane Austen book adaptation, so you know how that goes when it comes to certain books and things like that.
Yes.
But the more I watched it, because my lovely wife absolutely freaking adores this film, the more I'm like, okay, Mr. Darcy is kind of a badass. I get it. And then he plays kind of like a dumbass in Succession, but it's fine. He is forever and always Mr. Darcy. But it's a classic love story, and it kind of paints the picture of life's dynamics when two people see each other, get the wrong impressions, but then actually like turn out to fall in love with each other because they read a book by its cover. And there's so many different examples throughout this film where there are, you continue to go back to reading that cover when you should be on page 55 or 57. So it's a very beautiful story. We love Keira Knightley. And yeah, I was glad because they had a re-release. I think it was either the 20th or 25th anniversary, and got to go back and see it in theaters. And to go back and watch older films in the theaters, it's a kind of a special experience because yes, you've already seen it, you know the story, but you notice things that you may not have noticed before on your at-home television screen, right? So it was very fun. So yeah, I had to put that on there. Number 5 for me, Pride and Prejudice.
Well, there you go, man. Good choice. My number 5 is a Christopher Nolan film, and I think I could have stacked all 5 with Christopher Nolan films because he does have a knack of twisting things and surprising you at the end of stories. But for my Christopher Nolan pick, I went with Inception. Brilliant film, Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's about basically this top of the line thief who is brought in to program a CEO to do a certain task. And the reason he's brought in is because how he steals things is he manipulates people in the dream world, if you will, to enable him to get what he's trying to do. The spin on this thing, though, is throughout the entire movie, you think you have it figured out. And this is why I put it on the list. Because Nolan ends it. If you guys don't remember, how you knew you were in the dream world or out of the dream world is they had to have a grounder. And each person had an item. It was a dice or a little spinning top or something that would spin and stop. And if it stopped, it meant you weren't in the dream world. You were back in reality. You were grounded. But Nolan ends it with Cobb putting his little spinner down, and then just ends the movie. And we don't know if the spinner stops or not. And then you have to question, well, wait a minute. Is he still in the dream world? Is that all a dream and none of that was real? Like, did he do what he was supposed to do? And the reason I think it's one of the most brilliant film endings is because everyone has a different opinion. You can line up 10 people and all 10 people will tell you it did stop, it didn't stop, it was a dream, it wasn't a dream. They all have an opinion on how it ends. but we don't know how it ends. So I love that. That's why I put this on my list. I think anytime that you can have an audience walking away without a definitive answer, and it's open for interpretation, you've done your job. Because that's what art is. It's interpretive. And you can't end a movie better than that. It's like, well, what do you think? So my number 5, Inception.
Oh, great pick, man. Great pick. My number 4, it's dark. It's deep. It's hardcore. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but I'm talking about American History X. Came out in 1998. And I'm just going to read you the description that they have listed on IMDb Pro. Living a life marked by violence, a neo-Nazi Derek finally goes to prison after killing 2 young black men. Upon his release, Derek vows to change. He hopes to prevent his younger brother Danny, who idolizes him, from following in his footsteps. Well, the whole thing ends up to where the brother does follow in the footsteps and ends up dead for it. I love this film because it shows the realistic and the ability to be, unbeknownst to you, that people look up to you. You have to realize the people who are in your circle, the people who are in your life,
that's right,
who look up to you, ask you for guidance, ask you for questions, and are you being a good role model and a good example for that younger person? It's a very hardcore film, man. It's a great film, but it's very hardcore because it deals with a lot of racism. It deals with a lot of things that are still happening in today's society. But it also shows that it's a redemption story, and it's never too late to change your thought process about something, especially like that. It's hardcore, parental advisory,
yeah, yeah.
I just
the curb
put your
scene
mouth on the
alone,
curb.
man. Yeah, that's hardcore. And stellar cast, man.
Yeah,
stellar cast. But you got Edward Norton. It's just who is one of my all-time favorite actors. I think he's so underrated. It's ridiculous. But that thing, just stellar cast from start to finish. And yeah, great story, man. Great story.
completely agree. Yeah, I had to put it on the list. And this was probably another one. So for our interns, we have a Discord chat channel where we kind of tell them what we're going to do throughout the day, what they can get inspiration for posts and things like that. But we also do questions of the day sometimes, just to lighten it up and have a little fun and get to know each other a little bit more. The other day, it was movies you shouldn't have been watching when you were young. I remember watching this movie before I was 10 years old, so probably shouldn't have been watching this one before you were 10 years old. But yeah, number 4 for me, American History X.
Okay, my number 4, also an Ed Norton film. And in my opinion, the single best performance he's ever given. And that's saying a lot because he's given a hell of a lot of great performances. Fight Club, all these. But this this performance, just, he should have won an Oscar. I don't understand how the man wasn't even nominated for an Oscar. He should have won an Oscar for this performance. So, Primal Fear. I hate this because if you haven't seen it, but I have to tell you because otherwise I can't explain the ending.
I know. I've been trying to avoid telling you.
But you have to with this one. So I'm sorry. Watch it anyway, just because it's so damn good. But basically, Ed Norton, and it's Richard Gere and Laura Linney, and he plays an altar boy. And he's accused of murdering a priest. And Richard Gere comes in, and Aaron is the name of the altar boy. He was like homeless and taken in by the priest, and he's real shy and timid, and he's not smart, and he stammers. He has a stutter, and he's real nervous. And so amongst the investigation, Richard Gere's character, the lawyer, finds a video where it looks like, because he's convinced he's innocent. He thinks there's no way this kid did it. He's terrified of his shadow. No way he killed the priest. And then he comes across a video in the investigation and sees that the priest may have been touching, maybe the altar boy the way he shouldn't have. And then he's like, well, this video certainly looks like Aaron fought back. Maybe did some stuff. But it also comes out that Aaron has a protector, Roy. Roy is a split identity who protects Aaron and comes out. And he is very smart and very evil. And he's the one who kills the priest. So now Gere is like, well, we've already had our plea. We're in trial. We can't change our plea. Now I've got to find a way to bring Roy out. Bring Roy out so the jury can see that that's the killer, not Aaron, and get him off on he's mentally unstable. So he goes through all that. He starts hammering Aaron. Aaron gets all scared and defensive, and he's nervous, but he's doing it on purpose. And the judge is like, you're berating your own witness. You're hammering your own witness. And he's like, ah! And then Roy comes out to protect Aaron. And the whole courtroom's like, and they see this, and he brags about how he had to protect him. The priest was touching him, and he couldn't do anything about it, so I had to do something about it, blah, 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 blah. And brilliant. Then they're about to get the verdict. And something just seems off. Gere is still just like, something. So then he goes to talk to Aaron in the cell. And Aaron is, and then all of a sudden it's Roy. And he reveals to his attorney that Aaron doesn't exist. It's a complete fucking fake, that Roy is Roy. And Aaron was just made up to cover the fact that Roy killed the priest because he didn't fucking like him. And so it was all fake. The whole Aaron thing was fake. And Roy was just Roy putting on an act to get away with murder, and he fucked his attorney because he knew the attorney would go for it. And it's just brilliant. But the back and forth performance, I know I'm taking way too long for this. The back and forth performance of Ed Norton is Oscar worthy. It's worth it to watch it right there. But that was like the most unique. I didn't see, I usually catch shit like that. I had no fucking clue. I thought legit this was just a split personality type movie. That guy came out to, no clue. It was all fake. It was so well done, man. My number 4, Primal Fear. So good.
Nice. Great one for sure. Number 3 for both of us goes to The Usual Suspects.
This was Kaiser Sosa.
Yes, a great plot twist, a great marketing campaign that you told me about, because I don't even remember when it came out. But yeah, because I wasn't. So
1995. Yeah.
So this came out before I was born. So yeah, hearing about the marketing campaign that you told me about, I think it sounded awesome. But yeah, there's always the people that I feel like the police bring in for the lineup, basically, so that people can identify who the crook actually is. And it's all based on that. It's kind of in the same vein as Ocean's 11-ish, kind of like that whole franchise. But it's a fun movie. It's a more of a thriller plot twist than the Ocean's films, and that's why I really enjoyed it. And you have some great freaking actors in it. And yes, absolute douchebag. Do not like him as a person, but fucking, I'm sorry. Kevin Spacey can act his
Oh, he's a
ass off. He's
brilliant
a
fucking actor.
phenomenal actor. I
Like,
still want to watch American Beauty because of him. But it still makes me feel kind of gross because of it. Yeah, I had to put that on there. This was one that I watched maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, relatively recent, and was blown away by it. But yeah, number 3 for me, Usual Suspects, and you.
yeah, absolutely loved it. And you're right. You know, you've got to, sadly, you've got to separate the artist from the man, because he is a brilliant actor. And every performance he gives is top of the line, but you've just got to separate that from the scumbag human being that he apparently is, allegedly. So, but it's kind of like the primal fear aspect in the whole movie. They're building you towards a certain suspect, and then Kevin's character, Verbal, he's like this meek, timid kind of like, no way this guy is Kaiser Sosa, you know?
Yeah,
there's no way. And yet he is. He is Kaiser Soze. So it was just one of those diversionary tactics to where, you know, you're building, and the audience each had an idea of who they thought Kaiser was out of the rest of these guys. And I know for the longest time, I thought it was Keaton. I thought it was Gabriel Byrne's character. I was like, I'm convinced. That's another movie that got me. I'm usually really good at figuring it out, but I did not know who Kaiser Soze was. And it was a brilliant, that was the marketing campaign. Who is Kaiser? And there were buttons and there were commercials and there was like, and if you weren't aware, you just saw who is Kaiser Soze everywhere. And you're like, who the fuck are they talking about? What is Kaiser Soze? Like, you had no clue, you know, but everybody was asking the question. So it was a brilliant marketing campaign. But yeah, it was a twist at the end that nobody saw coming. Like, wait, what? Who is? Like, oh yeah, it was great, man. It was great.
Yeah, maybe one of our other top 5 should be top 5 marketing campaigns for films. I think that would be a good one. Yeah, great choice, man. I love it. Number 2 for me goes to, I'd say, one of my favorite indie films, Lost in Translation, with Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray. This one is definitely like a period in both of these characters' lives where they know it's not going to last forever. They know it's not going to be serious, but during that time period, they can learn from each other and help each other. And I don't want to say use each other in a good way to help push them forward in momentum with continuing in their own particular life. I think it's awesome too, because it's set in like Japan or China or something like that, and it's 2 Americans over there on business. And I mean, first of all, Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray, both phenomenal actors and play their respective parts so freaking well.
Fucking brilliant,
and, yeah, like that. And it's always been a topic of conversation. What did Bill Murray say at the very end? Because obviously the 2 are not going to end up together. There's no way that could work. She's the age of like his son or something like that in the film, romantically and things like that. So what did Bill Murray whisper in Scarlett Johansson's ear at the very end? That was like always the biggest thing. I heard it was like a joke or something just to like break the ice, because it literally was one of the final things that they filmed, and then obviously they stopped working together after that because the film was over. But it's a touching story, and it's a non-judgmental story, right? Because once you hit a certain age, respectively, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your life, right? No one else should be able to dictate who, where, why you see people. And I think this film represents that beautifully, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, number 2 for me, Lost in Translation.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. Absolutely beautiful film. It's so well shot, and like you said, the writing, the directing, the performances, just all brilliant. And so yeah, absolutely love it. My number 2 is probably the greatest love story ever put on film. No doubt about it. It's on everybody's list as one of the greatest films of all time, so it only makes sense that it would have one of the greatest endings of all time, and that it would be one of the greatest love stories of all time. I'm, of course, talking about Casablanca. Yeah, one of the greatest endings of all time, because this entire movie is all about soulmates, lovers, the end all be all. Old Rick making all the sacrifices for Isla and everything that you do during wartime. And this is it. This is my person. And then they don't fucking end up together. She gets on a plane and flies away. What? What? That's the ending. Newsflash. They don't end up together in the most epic love story ever. They don't end up together. I was like, I think the first time everybody watches this, you're convinced, yeah, the war's going to end. Everything's going to be fun. They're going to get on a plane, fly off together, and it's going to be the most beautiful thing ever. No. No. They admit pretty much that they're soulmates, that they love each other. They'll always love each other. They're meant to be together, and yet she still gets on the fucking plane and leaves. What is happening? So that's I had to put it on the list because I think it's one of the most... Initially, now everybody knew, but initially, when that first film came out, and the first time that you watch it at any age, you're shocked by the ending. You like, there is no telling throughout the entire film that this woman is gonna leave him. There's no way. You're like, no way. I just, yeah, it's an inspiring love story that ends horribly. I just don't know any other way to say it. Casablanca just goes to show you can have a soulmate and still not be with them.
Yeah,
Just,
I think
you know.
the whole film's about sacrifices, making sacrifices for the people you love.
It is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
They sacrificed love in the end because she flew away.
Exactly.
I thought the whole movie was about sacrificing everything for love, not to sacrifice the love. Like, so crazy.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, number one for me goes to The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. Which is kind of funny because it's not my favorite movie, not even close. But I absolutely love the ending because, first of all, it's so different. It's so outside of the box. If you guys didn't know, The Truman Show came out in 1998. Jim Carrey was really around the peak. He's starting to climb the ladder to become the top of the line Jim Carrey that we all know and love today. And if you guys don't know, this guy is basically raised in a reality show where everyone is just watching his life unfold like reality television, and unbeknownst to him, his life is a show. And it's such an interesting concept, and this is what we're talking about with original concepts. We need another Truman Show to come out like that for something today. But it's a great ending because he figured it out and he escaped. And if I don't see you, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Like, it's such an iconic film, and what they were able to do with the story, with the message of just trying to figure your life out even when people are watching, and the people who are watching don't even matter. So yeah, I love it. I love the originality. I love the filmmaking aspect of it, and I love it kind of gave you a little bit of the Beautiful Mind aspect too, with Russell Crowe, where like he has schizophrenia and he's got people popping up and things like that. So great film, man. Great film. Number one for me, The Truman Show.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had another film that played along that premise too, called The Majestic, where the whole movie you're guessing, is he or is he not really the character that he's playing? Because the son had supposedly died and he comes back and everybody believes it's him, but you're led to believe throughout the whole film, maybe it isn't him, or is it? Right. So he's just a brilliant actor and plays those things so well. I mean, it was a no-brainer for me what was going to be probably the most talked about ending in recent cinematic history. Hands down, no doubt about it. For the simple line, what's in the box? Brad Pitt delivers it. Morgan Freeman's telling him, don't look. It's the most exhilarating, heart-racing, oh my God moment in recent cinematic history. I'm talking, of course, about Seven and the ending of Seven, where, his the detective finds out that what's in the box is his wife's head, and it was a shocker to everybody watching the movie. Nobody saw that coming. It was one of the most shocking endings of a film I have ever seen, and it was just brilliantly acted. The dynamic between Spacey and Pitt and Freeman, with that scene. I can't even just explain or describe in words how intense. If you hear us talk about it all the time, like making the audience feel like they're a part of the film. That scene, you feel like you're standing right there screaming to know what's in the box right with him. Like, what the fuck is in the box? And you're just as devastated when you find out what's in the damn box as he is. Oh my God, just brilliant. And so, yeah, my number one, 7. And another brilliant marketing campaign. And I thought the irony of, because much like Spacey in The Usual Suspects with Who is Kaiser Soze, you know, initially, and it's not the case anymore. Now, if you watch it on wherever you can watch it on streamers or whatever, Spacey's listed. But initially, they kept the killer in this movie secret. They kept it a secret, and they kept Spacey's. He was not credited. At no point ever did you see his name, ever, in the opening credits or the closing credits, and it was intentional. He was left out of all of the marketing materials. He was left out of it. This is before all the shit went down with him. This was just an intentional marketing move because they wanted to keep the suspense and secret of who this killer was. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was another one of those moves where you have no idea that it's coming, and then you see Spacey and you realize all of a sudden, oh shit, it's this guy. And it's just, plus another original, just a really original film about the 7 deadly sins, and this guy's killing people with the 7 deadly sins. And it's just, it was amazing. It was so creepy at the time, but yeah, a very young Brad Pitt, a very young Gwyneth Paltrow, Morgan Freeman just killing it because Morgan Freeman's Morgan Freeman. But yeah, man, my number one, 7. What's in the box?
I love it. I love it. So good. Well, we want to know, all of you out there on the interwebs, please let us know, what is your favorite movie ending?
What's
Please
your
be sure to
favorite
comment
ending?
down. Yes, we want to know. Comment down in the YouTube comment section. Add us on social media. We love the fan interaction, and we want to continue the good times rolling. So be sure to let us know your favorite movie ending anywhere and everywhere on social media. Well, we are heading over to the box office recap.
Yes.
And How to Train Your Dragon came in at number 1 last week when it debuted. And man, oh man, I am kind of surprised it didn't do more. So Lilo and Stitch is still above How to Train Your Dragon, especially on opening weekend. So it came out with 84 million. So kudos to that. It is a very strong start. So it's nothing to laugh at.
And it had to compete with Lilo and Stitch. Same audience. Let's be honest about it. It's the same audience. And so Lilo didn't have a How to Train Your Dragon to open against. So, you know, yeah.
Completely agree. They'd had a Mission Impossible, but whatever.
But that's, come on, that's okay. Adult audience and kid audience. That's two totally different.
Well, yeah, I know. But I mean, Lilo and Stitch is my movie, and How to Train Your Dragon is my movie. So your movie. So that's what it is.
It's still a good start, my man. It's still a good start.
Exactly. But number 2, of course, was Lilo and Stitch with 16 million, still doing pretty well. Materialists number 3 with $12 million. I think that's the Tom Hiddleston one.
No, that's the one with Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans and Pedro.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm thinking about a different one. Number 4 was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning with $10 million. Number 5 was Ballerina with $9.4 million. New movies coming out this week. It should be very interesting to see what the box office is going to look like, because we have 28 years later. It's been forever since we've seen one of these films come out, so that's going to be interesting. But I'm heading over to the theater on Sunday to see it, so that should be fun. Alio for Disney, the alien abduction film, Pixar. So that should be interesting. And we have Bride Hard, whatever the hell that was.
That is 2 of the girls from Pitch Perfect in some sort of bride crazy movie. It's like, so I think, you know, it'll do well. It's gonna grab that audience for sure. It is gonna be interesting to see though how to Train Your Dragon holds against Elio, because now there's 3 kids movies trying to compete at the box office at the same time. So that's going to be, I think 28 years later will have its audience. It's a cult classic. And like you said, it's been so long since we've seen the last one. I think people will flood to that one pretty well. I'm really curious to see the 3-way battle between the kids movies, to see which one,
For sure. My prediction for next week, I think How to Train Your Dragon's going to stay on top. Then 28 years later, then Elio, and then Lilo and Stitch, and then I don't know, I guess Mission Impossible probably, because I feel like that one has more legs than any of these other ones. But we will see what happens, and maybe we can go back to this and see if I'm right or not. That's for sure. Movies you can still go see: Final Destination, Bloodlines, Thunderbolts, The Life of Chuck, The Physician Scheme, and Sinners, of course. Be sure to go see Sinners.
Maybe the last week for Sinners, because I saw that in about a week and a half it's hitting streamers. So
nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That makes sense. Well, top trending segment, IMDb Pro. Be sure to get the app. We love it. The top trending movie is How to Train Your Dragon. Top trending TV show is Department Q. And the top trending star is Matthew Good, which makes sense because he's a great freaking actor.
And in Department Q.
Exactly. Well, we got to thank our guest one more time, Gralen Bryant Banks.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and spending a little crazy time with us. Be sure to follow him on all social media platforms, but he uses Instagram mostly. And check out his radio show / podcast. Please be sure to do that. It sounds like a very interesting concept, and I'm going to check it out. So I'm very excited about it. And then, of course, you can follow us on social media. The company is at Crazy Ant Media. This podcast is at ITCAFpodcast. And then our mental health podcast is at Everything's Okay Peep. But then, of course, don't forget us personally as well. You can follow me at J. Logan Austin and
me at Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right. And you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. If you're watching the video on YouTube, please watch the video on YouTube. We take a lot of time with our set dressing, and we have fun. You see our reactions in live time. We put a lot of work into editing the videos. It's fun, man. The videos are definitely fun. So watch the videos on YouTube while you're streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, all those places at the same time. Just start them at the same time.
That's right.
And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. But man, oh man, what a great freaking episode. Absolutely love it. Yeah, we're just trying to get the fandoms to chill out. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, man. I've never seen it as bad as it currently is. And they just all need to take a breath, calm down, and let cinema be cinema, man. Be excited about all of it. Just stop spewing hate, man. Stop spewing hate.
Exactly. It's all about love. That's for sure. And you guys know we love the one, the only Oprah!